learners. I'm Ankita Bhattacharyya, Assistant Professor at Center for Open and Distance Learning, Tezpur University. Today I'm here to talk about the functionalist perspective on stratification. This lecture is prepared primarily for the learners of MA in Sociology program at the CODL Tezpur University. However, it will also benefit anyone who is interested in learning the topic. I've kept the content very simple so that it is easily comprehensible to anyone interested in learning the topic. Before discussing the functionalist perspective on stratification, let me briefly tell you what the functionalist perspective or functionalism is in general. In simple words, the functionalist perspective sees society as a complex system with different parts, and each part has its own individual function, which ultimately contribute to the functioning of the society as a whole, maintaining its solidarity and stability. To understand it clearly, let me give you the common analogy popularized by Herbert Spencer, which presents the parts of society as organs of the body. Now, if we look at our body, it has got different organs, right? We have got heart, lungs, kidney, and each of this organ has an individual function to perform. It performs its own function, but ultimately the function that they perform individually maintains the body or keeps the body alive, or it ultimately helps the functioning of the entire body. So similarly, in a society, it has got different parts, and each part, no doubt, it's doing its individual function, but this by functioning individually, they are ultimately contributing to the functioning of the entire society or the society as a whole, and thereby it maintains its stability and cohesion. Now, coming to the functionalist perspective on stratification, the main idea here is that certain positions in society are functionally more important than others, and these functionally more important positions require special skills, and therefore not everyone is capable enough to occupy these positions. Only limited individuals have the talents that can be converted into required skills to training. Now, since talented individuals are already scarce and they have to undergo training, they should be given some sort of an inducement in the form of more rewards and privileges than others. In other words, rewards should be based on functional importance of the positions. Now, when the rewards are distributed differentially, it is obvious that there will be inequality, right? And therefore stratification in society. Thus, according to the functionalist perspective, stratification is inevitable and functional. In the context of functionalist perspective on stratification, we need to understand the views of Kingsley Davis and Wilbert A. Moore on stratification. According to Davis and Moore, no society is classless or unstratified, and therefore there is a functional necessity of stratification. The main functional necessity of stratification is the requirement of placing and motivating individuals in the social structure. Now, we know that there are different positions in society, and all the positions need to be filled up, right? And the individuals should be motivated, to occupy all the positions, especially the ones that according to them, according to the functionalists, they consider as functionally more important. Now, stratification therefore plays the role of motivating the individuals in occupying the different positions in society, and we have already understood that that some positions are functionally more important than others, and they require special skills for which talented individuals are limited, and they also have to undergo training in order to occupy this position. Now, during this training period, the individuals have to make some kind of sacrifices. Now, for instance, they have to bear the expenses needed for training. That is some sort of financial investment. Apart from that, had they not decided to undergo the training, they could already have started earning by selling their labor and by exploring other opportunities. As such, the individuals undergoing the training should be given some kind of an assurance that the positions that they are going to occupy after the training will give them more privileges and rewards than others. Otherwise, why would someone take the pain to undergo the training process, right? Now, suppose if today I decide, to be a doctor, I would first have to clear the entrance, right? And then I would also have to invest money to undergo the training and to get the degree of an MBBS. So that entire process, I will have it's a rigorous process, right, where I will have to learn, and also I will have to make some investment, and I'm going to devote years of my life studying that course. Okay, had I not taken up that course, I could have directly gone to the I could have directly started earning through other sources. I could sell my labor, right, and I can start earning. So in that case, since this kind of compromises, some kind of investment and compromises are being made, which are not done in case of other positions, so definitely these positions need to be given more rewards and privileges. Okay, that is what they have said. Now, in the context of the rewards that we are talking about, so according to Davis and Moore, rewards consist of things that contribute to, firstly, sustenance and comfort, secondly, humor and diversion, and finally, self-respect and ego expansion. So the rewards will help the individuals to sustain themselves, as well as to afford some luxuries and entertainment and leisure. Besides that, the rewards will also give them esteem and prestige. So when there is some kind of a differential distribution of rewards, there will be differences and inequality among various strata, and hence the individuals occupying those strata, right? And this will finally lead to what? This will lead to social stratification. So stratification therefore is positively functional and inevitable in any society. Now, regarding determining the positional rank, okay, Davis and Moore has said that there are two determinants of positional ranks. In general, those positions which will have more rewards and highest rank, which have firstly the greatest importance for the society, and secondly, which require the greatest training or talent. Now, if a position can be easily filled, it need not be heavily rewarded, even though important. So this is very important to keep in mind. Like, they have not only focused only on the functional importance of the position, rather they have also taken into consideration the if the positions can be easily filled or not. Now, if the positions can be easily filled, then we don't need to give much of an inducement, right? We don't need to induce people in the forms of giving rewarding heavily or giving more privileges and rewards. But if it is very difficult to fill up those positions, then definitely in order to induce the people, in order to motivate the people to come and occupy those positions, we need to give more rewards and privileges. Now, that is if it is important, or if the position is important but hard to fill, the reward must be high to induce the individuals to fill them. Thus, according to Davis and Moore, functional importance is necessary, but it is not the only criterion for giving high rank to a position. And we also need to understand here that the importance of positions differ from society to society. So positions important in one society may not be important in another. Now, the views given by Davis and Moore have been critically analyzed by Melvin Tumin. Tumin firstly says that the functionalist theory of stratification is not very clear about the term functionally important. So they have said that certain positions are functionally more important, right? Now, they are not very clear about, according to Tumin, they are not very clear about this term called functionally important. So he questions, how do we judge greater or lesser functionality? Right, like how can we measure like which positions are functionally more important than others? Now, if we think that the engineers, if we think that the engineers are functionally more important than the unskilled workers, then it would mean that the workers are dispensable compared to the engineers. However, the labor of workers is equally as important as the labor of the engineers, right? Now, let's take the example of a construction of a bridge. Suppose there is a construction of a bridge. Now, the labor of the workers here is equally important for constructing a bridge, and they are indispensable, and the engineers alone cannot build a bridge, right? We know that. So thus it is difficult to judge as to which positions are functionally more important than the others. Further, in the context of talented individuals that are required for functionally important positions, Tumin says that in every society there is some ignorance regarding the amount of talent present in the population. Okay, so not everyone would be aware that like they are talented, and besides, just being talented is not enough. You one should also get the opportunities to explore and exploit those talents, right? So suppose, and in the case of rigid society, this becomes more difficult, right? The more rigidly the society is stratified, there will be less chances that of the society discovering any new facts about the talents of its members. So suppose if those belonging to the elite section, those who have already been like belonging to the elite section, the parents have been occupying a better position in the society, all the good positions in the society, then the children of those parents will definitely get more opportunities than others in terms of exploring their talents and getting themselves the skill, like not the skill, like the training to convert those talents into skills. But some, even though they are talented, might not get the opportunities get to know that they are talented enough, and they can undergo the training and convert those into skill. And even for undergoing the training, you need to make some kind of financial investment, which may not be affordable to everyone in the society. So even in this context, regarding this, like the amount of sound knowledge in any society about the presence of talent among its people, that also needs to be questioned. And now, coming to the cost of training, well, the cost of training is generally borne by the parents and not by the trainees themselves. So, in that case, we cannot say that the individuals who are going to occupy the positions after the training, they were the ones who made those financial investment in the training process. And regarding the loss in terms of the income, that Davis and Moore said that while undergoing the training process, the individuals are not being able to earn. So had they not undergo the training, they could have started earning from that time itself, right? So in this regard, Tumin says that they can earn back all the loss in terms of earning an income during the training period in the very first decade of professional work after training. It just needs some 10 years to regain the loss. And besides that, those individuals who are undergoing the training, they are already enjoying some psychic and spiritual rewards for being trainees. Now, someone who is a student at an engineering college will enjoy more respect in society than their counterparts who are working as unskilled laborers, right? Thus, they are already benefited, and they are already enjoying some kind of rewards and privileges. So with this, like Tumin questions whether the arguments that were put forward by Davis and Moore regarding the sacrifices that the trainees have to make during the training period before occupying the functionally more important positions. So he have questioned those arguments. Coming to the concept of giving inducement in the forms of more rewards and privileges, as put forward by Davis and Moore, here Tumin says that it is not necessary that only rewards and privileges can serve as inducement to individuals to come and occupy those positions. There are also alternative motivational schemes like job satisfaction and social service. So individuals might get attracted to those positions. They may think of occupying those positions because they may find job satisfaction in it, right? And besides that, they might also have that they might go for it willingly or voluntarily because they want to provide some sort of a service to the society. So those two factors can also be inducement in terms of occupying the positions, and rewards and privileges did not necessarily serve as the only motivational schemes in this regard. Okay. Next, regarding human motivation, we do not have any facts, okay, right, as to which kind of reward is going to serve the purpose of motivating the individuals more, or we do not have much knowledge on how we should, which type of reward should be given more emphasis than the other, or whether we need to emphasize all the three rewards for inducement to be used as inducement. So we lack in that knowledge. No known facts about human motivation is known in this regard. Then further, Tumin says that only power and property necessary for the performance of different tasks must be distributed unequally. So here it's like the resources should be distributed unequally. Like all different positions will require different power and then property, different resources, right? Those should be distributed unequally, but rewards and privileges should not be distributed unequally. That is what Tumin says. And he further says that there are, along with the functions, there are more dysfunctions in the context of social stratification. So social stratification has got dysfunctions, and that is the reason why he says that he is not in favor of he is not in favor of social stratification. Now, the critical analysis that Tumin gave to that, Davis gave a reply. Okay, and in his reply, he firstly says that Tumin was more into getting rid of institutional inequality, okay, than to understand it. So he seems to be more into getting rid of stratification altogether than to understand the concept, and then to understand why there is it's social stratification, or what purpose social stratification serves. Okay, and further Davis says that Tumin has confused theoretical reasoning with raw empirical generalization. So Davis and Moore, they have given they have put forward their arguments as theoretical reasoning, okay, as a theory, okay, but that Tumin has confused it with raw empirical generalizations. And further, Davis and Moore have written on this topic of social stratification in not just one journal article. They have written extensively on that, and Tumin seems to be focusing only on one journal article. Now, as Tumin said that it is very difficult to judge as to which positions are functionally more important than other, right? So he says that it is difficult to measure the positions. Here, Davis and Moore says that just because it is difficult to measure, or just because we cannot get an exact measurement, there is difficulty in getting the exact measurement, it does not imply that the concept is worthless. Okay, the concept still holds its worth. Then also, like, coming to the rating of positions is done not only based on functional importance alone, but also based on scarcity of the talented individuals. Like we have already discussed this earlier, like Kingsley Davis and Wilbert E. Moore, they said that only the functional importance of a position is not enough, is not the only criterion to decide whether the position should be given a higher rank or not. Okay, that was not the only criterion for them. They have equally emphasized on the fact that whether it is difficult to fill up those positions. Now, if a position is important, but at the same time it can be easily filled up, right, by individuals, then those positions need not be rewarded heavily. So that point they have emphasized, right? But that is somehow has been ignored by Tumin. That is what Davis has pointed out. And also he says that this prestige system, it gives scope for vertical mobility, the prestige system that they have talked about. Now that point has been ignored by Tumin. That is what Davis says. Now suppose because of the difference in prestige, so people will try to move up the ladder, okay, social ladder. They will try to move from one lower position to the higher position. So in that case, this opens up the scope for vertical mobility. Now, Tumin, as Tumin has said, like people are motivated not only based on the rewards and the privileges, but rather they are also motivated to join a position based on job satisfaction and social service. Right? Those were the two motivational schemes that Tumin talked about. Now, in this regard, Davis says that if every individual is given the liberty to choose a position based on their liking, or based on the concept of job satisfaction or social service, so if they are given the liberty to choose on the basis of that, then whole position will end up choosing only a few types of position. So if every individual is given to do just what she or he wants to do, then everyone might go for a few positions, and some positions will be left without being filled. Okay. Besides, here also Davis has made a distinction between the two terms, esteem and prestige. Now, when it comes to fulfillment of one's duties, if someone is fulfilling his duties diligently and sincerely, then that person earns esteem in society. The approval that the person gets is esteem. Okay, but that is something that belongs to the individual. The individual can earn that esteem through the work he does. Okay, but now prestige is different. Prestige is something that is attached to the position that the individual is occupying. Now, suppose we are taking the example of two persons, like two positions. One is the position of a teacher, and the other is the position of an unskilled laborer. So suppose we are taking the examples here. Now, when it comes to esteem, okay, if the teacher is performing his duty, or if the unskilled laborer is performing his duty properly and then diligently and dutifully, if they are doing their task that is assigned to them, the role assigned to them, then they are earning esteem. That is based on that is something based on their performance. But now prestige is something that is associated with the position. That is what he says. Suppose the prestige that is associated with the position of teacher is some way or the other higher than the prestige associated with the unskilled laborer. So that is something which cannot be changed through one's performance of duties. That can be changed only when the person moves from one position to the other. Now, here Davis says that now, while prestige creates a mobile society, esteem will produce a static society. Now, because of the prestige, the people will try, to move up from one position to the other, from lower position to a higher position. Why? Because of the prestige associated with the position that can be earned only by moving from one position to another, right? So there is mobility. So it encourages mobility in the society. But if it was only based on esteem, or if people were given the approval based on only their performance of duties, then people will not bother to move up from one position to another. So the society becomes static. So, and further, Davis says that every aspect of society, any aspect of society is functional in some ways and dysfunctional in others. Just because they have concentrated basically on the functional aspect of stratification, that doesn't mean they have completely ignored the dysfunctional aspect. Well, they have focused on the functional aspect, but they at the same time agree that every aspect in society has got some functions and also some dysfunctions. Well, that's all I have in this lecture. Thank you.